Hey guys, I'm Crystal,
And I'm Ken, and this is Beyond the Satchel.
where we deliver more than just the mail.
Beyond the satchel, beyond the job, I'm done with my rounds. Now I'm heading for the battlegrounds. Beyond the satchel, let's take our stand. Scream our battle cry, and echo it across the land.
Hey, welcome back. This is Ken. Crystal is not with us today. We have a men's roundtable we're doing this episode, and we're going to start by introducing each other. And let's start from the top.
All right, I'm James Palinkas, letter carrier. I'm going on year 39. I'm retiring October of this year after 39 years. And originally started in the Bronx. I did 17 years in Connecticut. Now I'm in Nashville, New Hampshire, branch 230. Got a park and loop route. I live on my route, deliver my own mail. So, and I'm also, I don't know, I'm also known as the Macho Mailman. So,
Macho, and look, you get to go take a little 10-minute break or something to go make a sandwich or something in the house, huh?
I take my lunch break every day at home. Save so much money.
I don't blame you, man. What region are you out of?
I'm in branch 230 in Nashville, New Hampshire. Oh, region, I think it's 14. Rich the Checker.
Okay.
So
and let's go ahead to the next one. Mike, what's going on?
I'm quite well. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Scheib. I am the president of Branch 316, small little branch about 80 miles southwest of Chicago. I am also a local elected official. Letter carrying is my second profession. I was a university professor for 19 years, but thankfully I'm feeling much better now. So very enthusiastic about being a letter carrier, being a union guy. I love what I do. I also live on my route, so get to pop into my house, see the wife, see the kids, grab a sandwich. Really enjoy it.
Don't tell me, Colin, you live on your route too, man.
You know, here's the sad thing about that is up until end of October, I did live on my route, and then I transferred down here to Tennessee, and I no longer have that luxury. So I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Colin Walker. I'm currently out of Branch 27, Memphis, Tennessee. Preceding that, I was at Branch 28, St. Paul for 9 years. I started at the post office way back 2013 as one of the very first CCAs ever hired at Branch 4319. And for those of you in the know, that is Anchorage, Alaska. So I'm working my way south. Give me a couple more years, I'll be in Puerto Rico.
What region you in?
Region 8.
Oh. How you doing, everybody? Richie Ray, Branch 41 Merge. I'm second vice president out Region 15. I've been a letter carrier for 26 years. Been a union delegate for 25. I've been fighting the fight for 25 years, and it never gets old. It's always something new every day. Thank you for having me, guys.
And last but not least, I'm Louie Rivas, president of Branch 2076, Des Plaines, Rosemont. I've been carrying mail almost 37 years in June. I've been a union officer for 36 years. I've been a branch president for 17. We just had a regional training session about 2 weeks ago and determined that I am the longest current serving president in our region. There were a lot of other guys that came before me in our region that were presidents for a long time, but the group is in our region is a lot younger. So my term is going to be up. I don't plan on running next term, which will be in this next year, but that's the plan for now. So I'm the former state president, and I've also done a lot of political work for our state association for the last probably, a long time.
So let's get into one of our topics, which we're talking about the day of action. Mr. Renfro called for February 22nd for us to take action on a contract. What's your guys' opinion on that and how you feel about that situation? Feel free to jump in anytime,
I'm not sure if the day of action locally is the way to go. I mean, we've done a lot of rallies in the last couple of years when Trump was on the attack to privatize the post office. So we brought a lot of attention to ourselves. I think the best way to send a message to the Postal Service is having a big rally in D.C. around the time we're, getting ready to negotiate our contract. Yeah, we can make the public aware of what's going on, but they know what's going on. They know we're understaffed. They know they're not getting their mail. And they know that the post office just doesn't care. So while it might be beneficial to get the action, I just think we'd be better suited as an organization and be more effective if we were just having this rally in D.C. and not one, maybe a couple of rallies in D.C.
James, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Hey, we've been doing the rallies for whatever, and how long did that last contract take? Almost 2 years to ratify. It's the same thing over and over and over again, every contract. It's just time for like a whole new, just like wipe out the whole thing, clean slate, and just start fresh. Because, the carriers, the management's got a good contract. Even the mail handlers got a good contract. Our contract's great. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying, whatever. But the letter carriers, we're like the street, first line guys. You know what I'm saying? We deserve at least a little better contract. That's all. These young guys that want to make it a career, they deserve a lot.
Exactly. Because we're dealing with so much out there. You guys that got the years over me, and y'all went through the ringer and stuff like that. So we all deserve a good one. What's your thoughts, Mike? I see you over there looking like he's about to say something.
Well, I got my dog here hanging out right next to me.
What's up, bud?
But I like the local. I like the local actions. I think the more visible we are to our communities, inherently the better. I do like, obviously, we want to have a show of force in DC, but at the same time, we really are pillars of our communities. People see us every day. We're known to business owners, local officials. I like, we might be the first person to see a senior who is in medical crisis or whatnot. Our presence in the community is something that I think is valued by our community. And if our jobs were to go away, I think the community would suffer. And they sort of, I just think it's good for them to know of us as community figures and the value that we bring to the local community. And so when our contract is up and we are fighting for a good one, I think the local exposure is very positive.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I think that something most people don't talk about is that there's a couple of different audiences here, right? You've got this idea that it's about the legislature, and to a certain extent it is, but you've also got everybody that's going to watch the local news and be like, that's my mailman on the local news, right? And it's not about anonymous letter carrier, right? It's about, I know that guy. Hey, mom. Hey, grandma. The guy that comes and talks to you every day when I'm too busy to come check in on you, he's on the TV, right? And that magnifies things immensely. I don't think anybody here was really happy with the results of the last national rallies we did, right? It coincided with some negativity. But what it did locally for us up at 28 was it was a chance to work closer with the branches around us and network, and then even identify people in our own branches that I've never seen at a union meeting, but are the sort of people that are going to show up to a rally, right? Exactly. And that was a chance to connect and magnify their voices in a different way. That, it's not just about the guys sitting in the seats, which are important, and the ones making the decisions, but there's a lot of other good side effects too.
Yeah, because we did one, and when we did my first rally I attended, we did it, and that was my first rally for the post office I attended, and they gave me the microphone, and I was like, yeah. So I just went with it and started shouting stuff that we needed and getting the crowd hyped up and screaming across the street to people, letting them know, and hearing the horns blow and all that. I came from every job. Not every job, but majority of the jobs I had were union-led jobs. So I came from UPS. So when stuff like that happens, everybody was getting riled up to see, as a union steward, trying to get the members involved, it's kind of tough and hard. But when we started doing the rallies and stuff like that, and I seen, like you said, I seen people that I'm like, dang, I never seen you come to the union meeting, but you here at this rally, so okay, good. And a lot of times now they're getting more involved in it. So
There's definitely something that trips in you at a rally that's not happening when you're going Robert's Rules, talking about the budget at your local meeting.
right. Oh, Richie, any comments, thoughts?
I gotta be honest with you. I'm not really a big fan of this rally that he's calling for. What are we rallying for? Well, what's the rally about? What's the what's our goals for this next contract? I just don't get it. And I'm very disappointed from the last TA, and I just don't feel this rally. I just don't feel it. I'm not against it. I feel that we should be out there for the public to see us, but in the end of the day, what's the message? What are we rallying for?
Rich, you make a good point. When we did the rally back in October, we had talking points a month, 2 months out before it even started. And here, Albert, we really don't have any talking points on what the gist of this rally is. It's like fight like hell. Okay, yeah, we're fighting like hell for our contract, but what are our talking points? What are we going to talk about? We got workplace improvement issues. We got abusive supervisors. We got retention issues. We have a lot of problems on the workroom floor that the public is not aware about, but I'm not sure if conveying our dirty laundry like that to the public during this rally is going to be good. I think it could bite us in the ass. Personally, I think he's just doing this for show. Like, he's got those bargaining committees he's put together. I think it's just for show. When it comes down to it, those of you guys have been around a long time, he's going to do what he wants to do. The post office is going to cry poor. They're already crying poor. And we're going to get another bad contract out of this. That's just my personal belief.
Yeah, one thing about the current president is he sure does make the Postal Service's case for them, which seems to me counterproductive. Like going into a negotiation saying, yeah, you're broke. I just think that's not a position of strength.
I don't believe that we should be in the business of worrying about what the employer's issues are. We're about the employees. We're for the union workers, for the contract collective bargaining unit employees. We got to fight for us. For once in our lives, we have to fight for us. And enough for us worried about the employer. The employer has got their own demons they have to worry about, and we need to hold them to that accountability. And us always giving in to their mistakes, they get a slap on the hand. They're not getting no accountability.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but we got over 1,000 violations just in Branch 41 already this year. It's only the second month of the year. We're already at 1,000 grievances. I mean, come on. You talk about abuse of power, And we're going to rally for what? We'll fight like hell. What we're fighting like hell for? 1.3%?
Yeah, exactly.
Richie, I want to make a point, comment on something Richie said about fighting. The unions got to fight for us, how they fight for the postal headquarters fights for us. I've been around a long time. I go back as far back as Sombrado, okay? And he was a warrior. He took it to the post office all the time. I've been through 3 business agents. We had Dave Bybee, who was pound the podium, scream, yell, intimidate, be aggressive, go after him hard. And we had Neil Tisdale, who started the same way. Then he had some personal issues. And now we have our current business agent, Mike Caref, who's doing a good job for our region. We're fighting like hell, but unfortunately, our national officers aren't fighting for us. Case in point, the grievance backlog. You've got 1,000 grievances, and we're only like 6 weeks into the year. Okay, we have the non-compliance. Now we have, those 2 interpretive decisions that just came out. The one out of Seattle on the 17-3. Do we want to pay the stewards outside of what they're supposed to get? And why are we doing these grievances? Why are we asking for this money? Because we keep filing the grievances. We keep getting a lot of non-compliances. We just keep tacking on money. Yes, we did it in my branch. We're a smaller branch. every branch has non-compliance issues going on every day. And we talked at the convention about activating additional Step B teams. That hasn't happened. Now I was at our meeting, our regional leadership meeting the other day. They were talking, I forgot what office it was at or what region it was at. But now the post office is claiming that the grievances are untimely at the arbitration level because they're beyond the 14-day meeting period at Step B. And now they're trying. They're citing. I forget. It was brought up. It's in my notes somewhere, but it's just they just like our business said. They just don't care. They know they can hold us up. They know they cannot pay us. They're going to do whatever they want because we have no strength at the top of the NALC. We had it prior to Brian disappearing, and once Brian had his personal issues, we lost any leverage we had against the post office. Now we're weak.
So in that case, I guess we're fighting like hell to fix what we got in our own backyard. So
Our national president already said that the post office is broke. So
Right.
what we're fighting for? All right, he already made the case for them. He already said, out of his own words, he said they're broke.
We've
They're
been
broke.
We've been broke for like 50 years. Come on.
Yeah, they're broke, but they were able to give a 5% raise to all the supervisors. They were able to give them their bonuses last quarter. You know, I don't understand what we're fighting for. I don't even. There's no transparency. There's nothing. Okay, and I just don't. I don't believe in this rally. This time around, I don't believe in it.
And the only time
I'm all for screaming in the streets, but what are we screaming for? We're screaming that the post office is broke.
the only time the supervisor's gonna either get up and hurt themselves is when they move out that chair. So you give them 1.5% raise, and we out there falling on the ground during this ice storm. We still trying to deliver, getting robbed out there, etc. And 1.3,
And being totally back in 8, even though there's snow and ice on the ground.
Right.
What about our new vehicles they've been talking about forever?
Shit.
Careful what you ask for.
We should
be
be having new vehicles.
That one. I'm not driving that vehicle.
Yeah, careful what you ask for those.
Well, all right. I got a Mercedes for my route. It's a pocket loop route, so I'm driving in style,
Oh, well, they're front wheel. I don't like it when it starts snowing. I'd rather put me back in the LLV because I don't want to be sliding all the way across the street and stuff in the LLV.
Maybe just remodel the new LLVs. Just go back to the same thing. Just get new LLVs.
Yeah, and redesign them and make them more convenient with an AC unit in there, heat the better.
Just upgrade them. That's all. They are the better vehicles. I believe.
And don't
they've
make
been
the
good.
vehicles look like Donald Duck. I mean, they people have already got an X on our back. Now we got a kick me sign on us with those vehicles.
It looked like a platypus.
Oh my God! I could just see it on Halloween. We're an open target for the eggs throwing.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of the contracts? You know what I'm saying? Who authorizes shit like that then?
I don't know who authorized that. And I got to tell you, if the union had any doing in that, I got to tell you, I don't know what they were smoking when they agreed to that.
I look at that new vehicle. Remember the Flintstones?
Yeah.
Where Fred and Barney Rubble had met the alien guy, the Gazoo guy. He had that little hat. That's what that truck reminds me of, a Gazoo.
Hey, how about we just come up with like the NASCAR does and make some revenue through sponsorships? Our vehicles go everywhere, and we're like seen in everywhere, in every city, every state, rural, everything. Just put on some freaking sponsor, like a Pepsi sponsorship on our vehicles. How much money that would bring in for our freaking shit? Then we say we're gonna be broke. That'd be bullshit.
Yeah, true.
That is
I mean,
true.
You made it. You kind of got into another topic with where the vehicles go everywhere, which is the Medicare political fund and stuff like that. With getting Congress involved in a lot of stuff to help us out. getting them to, I guess, oversight with the delay of mail and all that, etc. Whatever, all the stuff that's going on with the post office, like privatization of the post office. Like our vehicles go everywhere. What's y'all thoughts on that? Them trying to privatize the post office.
Pretty sure we've been working on that for 50 years, right? That's.
Look, I was trying to say, you guys been around longer than me, so I know y'all been through it already.
I heard that from day one. You know, I was a casual in July of '92. You know, and I went from casual to TE to PTF. To me, CCAs should be totally abolished, done, and just go back to the PTFs. You know, career stuff right from the get go, and this way more people will stay with us. You know, back then we also had routes. All the routes were covered. You know, and now it's like we can't even cover routes here and there in every freaking region, every city. Something's wrong.
Exactly.
There was a time where first class mail actually meant something. There was a time where first class mail had to be delivered. Now
it still means something.
It's like mail is third class.
It still means something. It's just the way they did. It's just the way they do delivery shit now. They want to push that shit back. You know what I'm saying? It's got to go out same fucking day. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry.
I think the post office.
You good, man?
I think the post office is doing this for purpose because they want to destroy the service.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, there's a bigger mission here. For them to get away with what they're getting away with, because if a letter carrier ever delayed mail, like the management delays mail, that carrier would have got fired. Postal inspectors will have them arrested. They will remove them off the workroom floor. They have them on emergency placement. But management's getting away. Just this snowstorm. Just to be honest with you, I have never seen the poor leadership that management has shown during this snowstorm. You know, I never seen it before. We're out there. You know, look, I understand the snow is dangerous and everything, but we were out there in 20 feet of snow in '96. You know what I'm saying? We were out there. We were out there with real snow. This was a snowstorm, but this is not the end of the world snowstorm. And right now in New York, it's like there's no mail getting delivered. I never seen nothing like this in my life because they don't want to pay the overtime.
That's wrong. You're right. You're right. That's a good point right there.
They don't want to pay the overtime. They was like, "Hey, grab your stuff, go. Make sure you back in 4:30." Like, wait.
But falsify scans. Make sure you scan everything. Attempted or whatever.
Right.
It's a hot mess, and the service is taking a beating for it. It's taking a beating for it, and you know what? The union is not getting involved in this, and with them not getting involved in it, they're giving management the upper hand because the public is starting to lose faith in us.
Exactly.
They really are.
Exactly.
It's I don't know, like you were saying, maybe the sabotage, but I don't know. We're just like we're still a great organization through thick and thin, but we just need new people, new leadership to take us in that next generation, the next era, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You know, you young guys, you right there. You know, just a lot of these young guys, they don't step up. Like they just want to do the shit and go home.
Exactly.
They don't do that.
We need a leadership that worries about the craft employees, not the company.
Yes.
That's the bottom line, because the craft employees is the company. And with us being left behind is destroying the company. Because you know what? The retention is right there. It's showing you. The retention rate is showing you that people don't even want this job. At what time everyone would die for this job? Okay?
Let's give people the service.
Yeah, now no one wants it.
Yeah, because they hired a new people, and it's a job you already know you got to get trained to do the job. But as soon as on day one after they training, I'm an OJI trainer. As soon as they cut the people loose from me, I'd be like, they're not ready. I need another 2 days with them. And no, they're good. And then next thing you know, they're calling me, hey, can you go out there and help them out? I said, I told you already. I'm out there with them. I know what their struggles are. And maybe if you get off your ass and come out there, you'll see what I'm talking about. And usually Sometimes they quit. Sometimes they stick it out because I call them, look, I was there. I'm with you. We're gonna get through this together. You want this job? We're gonna figure it out together. So a lot of times they quit because management, just because they're new, they think, oh, you should be able to do this. No, it's a new job. It's a new atmosphere for them. So it's not flipping burgers. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
A lot of our newer managers are young, inexperienced, and only carried mail
one day.
If it's less than 3 days, 3 years, 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days, 3 years. If they carried mail less than 3 years, that's more than 3 years. That's a miracle. You know, they get out there, they get in with a supervisor who tells them stories and tells them how glorified they are, and all they do is they tell carriers what to do, abuse them, and then they sit on the phone all day and they just and just tell stories and don't do anything. And then they just abuse the employees. We have a CCA who's really struggling. He's been there 6-7 months, and they keep telling me they want him to resign. They go, no, you're going to have to go to the the Article 16 process, because when he was through his probationary period, you guys told me he was not going to make it. And I go, well, you have a process. Do what you have to do. And they didn't do it. Now I go, he's beyond his 190, 120. You cannot force him to resign. You're going to have to go through just cause and try if you want to terminate him. And he's still there. I mean, he's really struggles. I've talked to him. We've all talked to him. He doesn't get it.
Collins, you got any thoughts on this?
I mean, just on the flipping burgers thing, I don't know if anybody's ever worked at McDonald's.
Yeah,
but,
I worked there.
Okay, if you're standing on the grill line, there's pictures of everything you're supposed to do, right?
Exactly.
When you are wandering around that neighborhood that you've never been in before, there is no picture on the inside of your truck that shows you how to do it, right? This is the thing, like the false economy of like, look, we need them to hit the street by themselves as fast as possible. And it's like, look, you saved yourself 2 days of training and you're getting an extra 2 hours every day for the rest of that person's career, right? In their heads, they're just trying to, falsify the scans, zero everything out by the end of the day. In their heads, they're not figuring out the best way to run the post office for the next year, 10 years, 100 years. They're trying to figure out how to get through today. And that's not the way to do this.
Whatever the emails from the district tell them is what they're doing.
Right. It's how many like I started to do math one day on how many people making how much money were sitting on a telecon, and it blew my freaking mind. Right. It's like, this is literally see the meter running for $1,000 an hour for people to get yelled at about crap rather than go do something about it. Right. Exactly. Let's all sit on this telecon and run up the meter instead of going out to the street and solving problems, training, observations, anything.
Yeah, they got people up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, watching every route in like big computer rooms. Then they got people on the street observing us on the street. They're all making six figures, and then everything's on our scanners. GPS is on our scanners. They know exactly what we're doing.
Exactly. They paying all this money to them, and we got 1.3.
Yeah, and we're out there doing the job, and they're sitting in their cars watching, observing us. Maybe just take a loop or something. Take a package. Do something freaking worthy and shit.
Right. Cut them from the cut from the top. Cut the fat from the top. Maybe it can dwindle down to us. And now put your money and your investment into the people that's moving the mail, because if everything's in our scanner, we don't need a supervisor to sit there and type on the computer all day.
Everything in the scanner.
They already got the clerks doing our times now. So all we need is a postmaster. Get rid of the managers.
Yeah, Ken, Mike, I don't think you guys. I wasn't around for Carpet and Marvin, but like, if you ain't touching the mail, you need to be worried about your job.
Right. That was Carpet Marvin.
Yep.
Okay. I read that in Carriers of a Common Cause. So, yep. So, what do you guys think about getting Congress involved and trying to help us out? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, we could.
I know.
Louie's
I know
good at this.
And Ken, you're aware of this. Last December, when Joy was still around a year ago, Raja Krishnamurthy was on government oversight. He was our congressman. out here and is running for Senate in Illinois. I was reporting to him that, hey, the mail's not getting delivered. That was during the election. Your political bill wasn't weren't going out. So I somehow got pictures to the congressman, and when they had the hearings with the Joy, he showed those pictures of Gurney's routes not going out. And when the Joy saw them, look on his face, like, holy shit. How did he get that? Because he denied. And Roger goes, well, how can you explain this? And he named the offices. Parcels that weren't going out, that were picked up priority mail. The final truck came, they were customer connect stuff, and they sat there overnight. Mail in our office that wasn't going on. Mail in other offices that right in Des Plaines. There's 4 offices along this one main corridor, and there was a lot. So I got a lot of the information from, and he was like in shock. So we have gone to Congress, we have met with them, but the post office just says, okay, fine. They come up with all kinds of reports. No, this isn't true. We have no delayed mail. I don't know where you're getting this information from. You guys know, you guys put in for delayed mail requests from your offices. How many of them you get a report from the manager that actually mail was delayed when the mail was delayed? I know I don't get anything when I ask for it.
Exactly.
Because they hide the data. They don't put it in. They tell you they put it in, but then they don't put it in.
One thing I think we can work on with Congress is reaching out to the more rural areas that would be hardest hit by privatization. Because the Postal Service is losing money out in the boonies. And there are a lot of seniors who count on us for their medicine. We privatize, they're not going to get it. Certainly not on time, and delivery standards suffer and the whole bit. So I think maybe one of our goals needs to be reaching across the aisle to those red rural legislators and saying, hey, you need our services. Your constituents need our services. And if you don't support us, we're going to come at you in the primaries, kind of a thing. I think we can do a better job kind of pitching our cause to those that might be a little bit reticent to support it.
I know I've had conversations with a business agent about trying to get the congressmen into the buildings so they can see the mail that doesn't go out. But there are rules and regulations when it comes to that. And I don't want to get anybody in trouble, get anybody fired for violating the hashtag stuff or, so, I mean, we've talked about how can we do that. And I'm not sure how, there is a workaround. I just don't know how to do it without getting someone in trouble.
I think the union, the national level, needs to do a better job of getting our message and our concerns out to Congress. I don't think they're doing a good job in doing that. I really don't. I think we do a good job in July, right? And then August comes along, we get a match lit under everyone's ass, and then when September comes along, we die out and we just lose the cause of it. I don't know if I'm making sense, but the bottom line is, I just don't think the National is doing a good enough job getting Congress involved, getting our message out there, getting our concerns out there. Because if Congress really knew what was going on in these neighborhoods, if they really have a clue of what's going on, I think Republicans or Democrats, I think they would make a lot of noise. I really do. These postmasters do not want to get a call from Congress. They do not want to get a call from them. They don't want to deal with them. And I don't think we do a good enough job of getting our message out there. We're so worried about the credibility of the post office. Again, we're worried about the employer, not the employee, not the customer. We're worried about the employer. They're already degraded the mail. It's already degraded. The customer is already disgusted. I have never seen how customers are acting lately. Just this last week, I just seen the worst I have ever seen with complaints from the customer with the letter carrier. I think the union needs to do a better job of getting the message out there with Congress, if I make sense.
I agree with you there, Rich. When Brian's in front of Congress, he's like a wordsmith, a word salad. He says a lot of things, but he doesn't convey that message. If you heard when Fred was doing it in front of Congress, he got his point across. Brian just runs his mouth. Like he's got diarrhea of the mouth and really doesn't get a message out there. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, Brian is a very smart man. I mean,
He's a very smart man.
He is a very smart man. But being smart doesn't mean you got common sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's common sense. What's the old saying? There's book smarts and there's street smarts.
Yeah, and that's what Sobrano had. He had street smarts.
Colin, you over there laughing?
Sometimes I think people
Sobrano was the best.
Yeah, paid by the word. Maybe Brian gets paid by the word. No, this is one of the things coming up in Alaska that people don't get. It's like you've got your problems today, but I also sat around in Boston, and the perennial issue of locality pay came up, which I'm absolutely for, having lived in some higher cost of living places. But people made it seem like that was a contract thing, and 100% it is not. Never has been. It was predating postal reform in the 70s that our senators, Republican from Alaska, Ted Stevens, and a Democrat from Hawaii, who sadly I've forgotten his name, got together, and this is pre-C-SPAN, did a lot of horse trading to make sure that the law was that letter carriers as federal employees got 25% T-COLA in Alaska and Hawaii, right? This was not a thing that we asked for in a contract. It wasn't a proposal. It wasn't a focus group. It was direct lobbying to Congress. So that, side by side with, I've done a lot of routes in my last 13 years, and probably for the last 5 of them, if someone's got a real problem with their delivery and they tell me that the local postmaster, 204B, supervisor, clerk, whoever's answering the damn phones, all they want to do is close that file and blow them off. So I always tell them, call your congressman. As a customer, call your congressman. Because second to salty-old letter carriers, your legislatures are good at embarrassing people in public, right? And there is nothing that any person in Congress, the Senate, anybody wants more than to point out how government is broken. And the best way to do that is to call somebody on the carpet and show them a big picture of mail that didn't go out. That'll get you some airtime on C-SPAN, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't cost us any money. Some things do cost us money, right? And that's why we see, I know we'll probably get to some of our bills later on, but a lot of the co-sponsors, Dan Sullivan, Republican from Alaska, not my favorite guy in general, but is co-sponsoring one of our bills, right? And that's because we get out there and do our thing. So there's fixing your local problems, and then there's fixing your national problems. And both of those, you get a lot of help with people with job titles. They get voted in like that.
Well, you brought it up. Let's jump into a couple of them bills, and I think the Equal Cola bill that was recently just put out there. I'm for it. I like it because it's gonna help our retirees out a little bit more. It's not really gonna affect a Vector carrier because we're still gonna get the Diet Cola.
So for clarity on that bill, right? The cola, that is for retirees. That's not the Diet Cola we've been talking about. It is the equivalent once you're retired, but just for everybody here that came in the AI subscription here that says about the Diet Cola, right. This is not to make you table one all of a sudden.
Right. Mike, you got any thoughts on that one?
I like it fine. Let's look out for our retirees. Nothing really to complain about. Certainly in it, obviously honor the ones that came before us, but yeah, certainly it's very easy to get confused. This has nothing to do with current carriers that we're about. Right. We need to fight cola as it is. Us compared to the clerk union in that regard, we're not looking good.
Yeah, that's. I had one of my carriers come up and they showed me the things like, hey, look, we're not getting that. I said, no, that's only gonna really apply to retirees. I said once they get passed. So he's like, oh, well, still getting that. I said, yeah, that's basically what's gonna happen. And they looked at me and it's like, why am I donating $5 to political fund? I said, this is the reason. I said that $5 is gonna help any other bill that comes out there. And in my opinion, I think if this do get passed through Congress, maybe that's a way, I don't know, you guys been around longer than me. Maybe that's the way we can negotiate that into our contract that we get full colas.
James, Richie, you guys aren't CSRS, right?
No, I'm first.
Okay. Just checking. Like every
I don't
city.
think there's anyone under SARS anymore.
Oh, I
think
got a
everyone's under
CSRS
SARS.
guy.
Oh, we have
around 50 years.
my office. We have a guy. He's got 60 years on the job.
Oh my God! God bless.
He's 84 years old. He's on senior guy.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I gotta shout him out. When I started, I was a router for Lyle Hansen up in Alaska, who was a striker, right, in 1970.
Wow.
And
he must have a good story.
He's got a few good stories. I don't know if I can tell him on air, but he's a feisty one.
Well, I worked in the office in the Bronx that started the strike, the Dogs Neck Post Office in the Bronx.
Yes, that's where the strike started.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So, and also Vince Sobrato used to come in when I was a casualty. I didn't know the magnitude of him at the time. I was new, fresh, but he used to come in my office all the time. And the guy just walking in the office, you knew he was magical.
That must have been an awesome experience.
Oh, it was fantastic.
And then the other bill that really I hold dear to me is because I don't want any of my brothers and sisters to get attacked out there on the streets and stuff like that. Is the Protect Our Letter Carrier Act. You two guys are Richie and James. Y'all out there in New York, right? In the Bronx and stuff.
No, I started in the Bronx. I'm in Nashua, but we did have one of our carriers that one of the young kids, he got held up and stuff like that. We had an incident at our office and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's more frequent now than it's ever been, and like that act, whatever, should be definitely enforced.
Yeah,
there's no consequences. Nobody get prosecuted.
Yep,
that's the bottom line. No one
I agree with
prosecuted.
You. Well, and what do they say that we're high value, low risk targets? We carry a lot of valuable stuff with us, and we're sort of sitting ducks after a fact, right?
Yeah, nothing protect us. Yep, no, you're right. But you got to just listen. You got to just be vigilant almost all the time nowadays. You know what I'm saying? When you're out there in the whatever if you're rural or city, you just got to be vigilant and just have your eyes open all the time.
It's really sad to see carriers get abused, mentally abused by management. They're getting attacked by customers, and there's never a remedy for any of this. You get attacked on the street, you get held by gunpoint, you put in a CA1. Now DOL is giving you a hard time because you need a psychiatrist that takes federal comp. It's just a mess. It's a mess. I mean, I'm trying not to curse here. That's why I'm kind of joking here. But it's just a mess.
let it flow, brother. Let it flow.
It's a fucking clusterfuck. Bottom line.
There you go.
It's just a sin. It really is a sin when I see this. I'm dealing with 2 carriers now in my branch that got held up by gunpoint. They're dealing with PTSD. They're back to work, but every little thing that happens to them, like there's a noise or someone shouting, they start getting the shakes. They're really not ready to be back to work. But they cannot get a psychiatrist to write a narrative for the DOL. These things just need to be corrected. All these laws that are in place are written in 1970 and 1975. They're not modern bills. They're
outdated.
They're outdated. They're not with the times.
Mm-hmm.
And for these people that attack us like this, and they get to do it with a smile on their face, they get arrested, and they get to walk the next day because the federal prosecutors don't want to prosecute because they don't think it's a big enough case. It's not a front page story for them. It's just that bill needs to get passed. But like it or not, even if that bill gets passed, it's got to be enforced.
What about the start times? Start time seems like they keep getting later and later and later, and that makes it for the people. Same thing, getting held up. You're out there in the freaking dark.
Well, in Staten Island, we're starting at 8:30. We start at 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 in the morning, and so we're out there in the dark, guaranteed for a half an hour, just
Yeah,
on an 8 hour day.
that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We start at 8 o'clock, but I mean, it should be 7 o'clock, 7:30. Even when I started, we
Even
were like,
6 o'clock.
yeah. That's when I started. We did 6 to 2:30. That was an 8 hour day. And then overtime was 4:30. You did a 10 hour day to 4:30. Stuff
And
like that.
not just talking about the darkness. Like, let's talk about the heat for a second. When we used to be in heat waves, they used to start us early to get us out in the street early, so that way we won't be out there in the sun, the hottest part of the day. Now they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
You know,
they don't.
they don't
Say,
care about nothing no more.
they say drink water.
They just don't care. They just don't care.
Tell you call, say, yeah, I'm feeling a little lightheaded. Oh, just stop and drink some water and keep going.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, listen, boss, I'm feeling a little dizzy right now. Can you do another loop? Can you do another loop? I mean, that's all they give a shit about.
Right.
We've had service talks in the past in my office for the heat and the cold, and the managers are given the talk, yada yada yada. And then I come up, I go, look, regardless of what management just told you, if you have symptoms, come back with the mail. Do not be a hero. Come back. If you're having heat exhaustion or you're frostbite, come back with the mail. They're not going to write you up. They're not going to do anything. We will take care of you. Your safety is the most important delivery at the end of the day back home to your family.
Exactly.
The post office don't give a shit about us.
Is safety and service. Is safety and service. That's the two biggest lies.
I know, yeah, we've been on here about an hour. You guys want to touch on anything else before we get up out of here?
Hey, you would talk about mental health in the post office, and we've kind of touched on it in a lot of different ways. But I know there's a friend of mine who used to be a former president of Palatine, Carl Afline. I know, Ken, you don't know him. I don't know if Mike does. But he was an arbitrator, and he was telling a story once where carriers were talking about they were stressed out. And the post office took it upon themselves to put them off the clock because they felt they were a threat to themselves and a threat to others because they claimed they were being stressed out by management. They put them on EP. They went to arbitration on it. They were off of work for a couple of months. They got their money back, their jobs back, and they got their money. They got their back pay. But, the point is, if you got to tell your members they feel stressed out, they don't want to tell the post office they're stressed out, and they just don't feel stable because we just don't know how the post office is going to act. Because they don't put people off of 16-7 for no reason, because they feel like they want to put someone off the clock where they got those teams out there going around checking for safety. You don't have your seatbelt on, or you're driving the Metris or the ProMaster, and you got the seatbelt, buckled in behind you, and you sit on top of it. In our region, they've been sending people home. Got a couple of guys in my office go home. They come back the next day. They pay them, but still, it's not part of the Article 16. But we just got to be careful how we handle stress with our members. EAP is big. Unfortunately, I had a carrier who was involved in an accident back in December, where he was involved in a fatal accident. It was just an unfortunate incident. He had a medical condition, and it led to the accident. And right away, I went to go see him in the hospital, and I told him you got to call EAP. He's been off of work since December. He went to EAP, talked to a counselor. They sent him to a psychiatrist who put him in a program. So he's been in this program since the middle of December. I don't know if he's ever going to carry mail again. Because he's just, every time I talk to him, he says, we had a couple PDIs, and he says, I just don't know when I can come back. Because every time I drive or I live this every day, the accident, and he can't ride in the front seat of a vehicle. He's got to ride in the back seat. So he may never carry mail again. He's a young guy. He's got like less than 20 years in, he's a good worker. It's just unfortunate. It was just an unfortunate incident. But yeah, we got to be really careful how we handle mental health with our employees. We got to refer them to EAP. I mean, you got to tell them it's a good thing because I've used it in the past. I have one of my officers in Stewards. I've known her for 30 years. She died of cancer. She battled it 4 times. Matt Julian's wife. And we're good friends and we're buddies. We used to give each other grief every day. And when she passed away and we went through the services and everything, I really had a hard time. I had to go. I went to EAP. I was in there for about a month dealing with the grief.
Yeah, mental health is big with me. I have a mental health episode on my podcast, and I take mental health very seriously. And I gotta tell you something. We gotta look out for each other. We gotta look out for each other. I understand, the working for, horsing around, playing around. That's all good. But at the end of the day, you have to be more compassionate. Dealing with management, bad management. There's good management out there. I'm not saying all management is bad. There's good supervisors. There's good managers. Believe it or not, there is. Richie Ray said it. It's true. There's good managers and good supervisors. But by saying that, there's bad, very, very, very bad supervisors and very, very, very bad managers. And unfortunately, the higher they go, the worse they are, and the more power they have, the worse they are. They abuse their power. And mental health is serious. And, by saying that, guys, to everybody who's listening, just remember, all right, we're all human. We all have a heart, and we all have people that we love. Okay, and you don't know anyone's story. You don't know what's going on with people secretly. You just need to be just look out for each other. Bottom line is look out for each other. Okay, you see something, say something. All right, write the statement. Don't be afraid of retaliation. Don't be afraid of that. If every carrier out there gave a statement against a bad manager, what are they going to do? Fire all of us? Come on, guys. How many people get fired off this job?
Exactly.
Not many.
You
They're
know,
too stupid.
come on, man. Just give a statement. And believe me when I tell you, everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story. And some people are more fortunate than others. But bottom line is everyone's got a story. You just need to be compassionate, and mental health is huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. I had a suicide in my branch recently.
Hey,
And that was devastating. That devastated the whole office.
I had a carrier today. She had a breakdown in the office, and the supervisor called her in there. I was in the office with the postmaster. Me and the postmaster was having a discussion. I heard the carrier name called on the intercom system, and I go back to my case to grab my book bag with some files in there, and the supervisor's like, "Yeah, I need you to go talk to her." I said, "What's wrong with her?" Well, I was trying to PDR and she broke down. I'm like, "Oh, okay, did you talk?" I'm like, "Why I gotta go talk to her? Did you find out what's going on?" I'm not talking to her. She won't open up to me, and I'm looking like, okay. So I walk into the conference room to talk to her. It's just carrier, her bawling her eyes out, and I'm looking at her like, I had to sit there and tell her, hey, I don't know what's going on. You want to talk to me? If you gotta let it out, and speak to me. And I said, but you're not leaving the office in this condition. And the supervisor come, well, she has to go out to the street. I said, how about you go out to the street and whatever's going on with her and you crying or something like that, and your mind's out, go out there and you do that. And the supervisor told me, well, I need you to be quiet. I said, oh no, I'm on 613 time now. So, and this carrier is not leaving. I said, she's going through it right now. So, and I told the supervisor, hey, let's go out in the hallway. And I talked to her and told her, hey, this is what's going on. You can't let her go on the street like this. And so eventually the carrier calmed down and I talked to her and I gave her, I said, here's the EAP card. Call her if you need to. Or I said, if you want to call me today and talk to me, talk. I said, I'm here. So I had to check on her all day long. I was like, do you want to go home? Then the supervisor tell me, well, she go home. She's going to have to bring a doctor's statement. And I turned around and it slipped out of my mouth. I said, why don't you shut the F up? And so it slipped out. I was like, I had the look on my face like I'm about to get put on EP. I knew it was coming. But the carrier went out. She was okay. And I mean, it's just like you said, when you see something and you see somebody, we all know our carriers and we know how they act and stuff. If they're not their self, I approach them all the time and talk to them like, hey, everything good? You good? You okay? You want to talk? A lot of them say, yeah, they talk to me, and some things I'd be like, I didn't need to hear that. I didn't want to know that. So, but you got to speak to them and make sure they're okay. So, that's
And it's nothing to be ashamed of if you need help.
yeah,
Nope.
There's nothing to be ashamed of if you're dealing with a mental issue. There's nothing to be
100%.
ashamed of. Okay, you gotta you gotta put your pride to the side and ask for help. All right, and for brothers and sisters out there, you know each other better than anyone else. You're together more than you with your families. Okay, you know what your coworker, you know their attitudes, you know their demeanor, you know their behavior. You could see it, recognize it, and just be a shoulder. Just ask them to call EAP. Be an ear. Say hello. Go out of your way to be nice. You know, sometimes all it takes is want somebody to say, how you doing? And that goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? So, just listen, if you got any kind of issues going on, please put your pride to the side. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There isn't. All of us go through it. We're all human. I'm not perfect. I had my issues growing up, and I have my issues now. You know, it's okay to be. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to talk to somebody. So please, just keep that in mind.
exactly. Hey, James, Colin, do you guys want to put something in there before we get up out of here, guys?
No, he spoke 100%. What he's saying is true. We have in my office, we have like a little gathering, like we get together once a month, we go out to dinner and stuff. We call ourselves the super crew. And we kind of like we people, just like he was saying, you can just tell if somebody's going through having a bad day or whatever. Just instead of like bashing them or whatever, uplift and show a little kindness. You know what I'm saying? We're all in the same boat. We all like just want to do, some are clerks, some are manhandlers, some are carriers or whatever, but we're all in the same boat for the post office.
Okay.
Just help them out a little bit. That's all.
Mike, you over there chilling like you about to pass out back there, man. You got something to put on this before we get out of here?
No, I love the idea of mental health. Just show kindness. The golden rule, it never fails, right? And the kindness you put out, you get back. It's a fact of life, and maybe transforming the culture of our offices would, I think, be a great first step in maybe fixing bigger, even financial issues. If you start happy carriers carry bail, and I think happy carriers can be better self advocates.
Thanks, you guys. If anybody want to add something to it or anything like that before we get out of here, I appreciate you guys coming on. We love doing it. Well, we just started not too long ago, so we love just getting on the show, talking to different people, learning their perspective on what they done went through in the post office, what they do outside the satchel. So that's one thing. Crystal will kick my butt if I don't ask you guys. So, Colin, what do you do outside the satchel?
Well, we just moved, so there's a lot of moving boxes around right now. But outside of that, traveling, you know, 2 incomes, no kids. It's a pretty sweet gig.
You lucky.
And then we cook a lot. So
Louie, what you do beyond the satchel, my brother?
So I used to coach back in the day. You know, I used to coach youth sports, boys. I have 2 great nieces that are getting to that point where in a couple of years they'll be in sports. I might be coaching them again with my nephews or dads, and their uncle. I like to read, love music, love to cook, love to hang out, and I love to travel when I can.
So, Mike, what you like to do beyond the satchel?
I'm heading to New Orleans 5 days, get away from the West. So I love to wander, and I have 3 unattached kids, good-looking wife at a compound. So I do okay when I'm not delivering the mail.
All right. Well, my little son, he was gonna try to take over and ask the last 2 people, but he done got a little camera shy. Richie, what you do beyond the satchel, my brother?
My brother, I just, I'm a boring guy. I love poker. I enjoy sports, and I enjoy studying my craft. I love history, and and I love music. I love listening to music. That really calms my soul. Is listening to music.
Okay. But you listen to like jazz and stuff like that?
I love the blues. I love the blues. Yeah.
My son, he just said you listen. He said he remember you from the other shows, and when we did the video, when I was doing a video for the donating to the political fund.
Oh, the Godfather music.
Yeah, he said he was like he listened to the Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so, Mr. James over there, what you do beyond the satchel?
I just do I do the macho mailman thing. I travel. My family's in New York, so I travel to New York a lot. I got 4 grandsons. I got kids in South Carolina, so I go to South Carolina. I go here and there, so we do the foodie thing too. So
Okay.
we go. Yeah, we support local businesses for food, food areas and stuff. So.
All right, you want to say goodnight? All right. He said goodnight, guys. Have a good one. Be safe out there. I hope we can do part 2 pretty soon.
What's your favorite board game?
He asked, "What's your favorite board games?"
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Scoots and ladders.
Candyland bingo.
Yeah, Candyland.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Be safe.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Beyond the satchel.